In the desert, things change slowly. The hot sun beats down without mercy, drying up the landscape, drying up any reason for change. You almost expect to see dinosaurs walking the earth. And in the Mojave Desert near Trona, California, you can see dinosaurs. Desert dinosaurs. That's the only way to describe the Trona Railway's Baldwins. They're relics of another age, when steam locomotives still ruled the rails and Baldwin was still a contender for the rapidly growing market for diesels. But that was the early 1950s. This is 1989, and Baldwins should be in railroad museums and the pages of history books. These Baldwins haven't heard the news. 4 days a week, they shuffle covered hoppers of potash and salt cake, earning money for the Trona and providing dependable, cost-effective transportation for the Kerr-McGee Corporation. People will tell you that you can't run Baldwins today. They're too old, they're too hard to keep running, they're too unreliable, and you can't get parts anymore. Forget all that. These Baldwins have work to do. The Trona Railway is basically a one-commodity, one-customer railroad. Trona is a common name for a mineral, hydrous sodium carbonate. The town of Trona, California is located on Searles Lake, a dry lake bed that supplies a wealth of minerals. It's truly a company town. The railroad's owner, Kerr-McGee Corporation, separates and refines these minerals at 3 plants on the lake bed. The Trona Railway switches out covered hoppers and hauls them uphill out of the Searles Valley to the Southern Pacific interchange at Searles Station, 31 miles from Trona. From there, the products of Trona are shipped to markets worldwide.
Well, there are 2 components, mostly sodium compounds and borons. And the ore, which is a brine, develops soda ash, salt cake, and boron products. Boron is used, generally can be used for fire retardant in insulation or fire retardant in anything. Salt cake is used generally in the detergent industry, and soda ash is used in the glass industry.
All these products are separated out and processed here at Trona, is that
Here
right?
at Trona, that's correct.
Where do Kerr-McGee's products go?
All over the world, really. Asia, South America, Europe, and the United States, North America. Just about everywhere.
As a one-commodity, one-customer railroad, there's nothing unusual in what the Trona does. It's just how they do it. Like many short lines, the Trona turned to Baldwin when they dieselized in 1948. Unlike almost all short lines today, however, the Trona has stuck with Baldwins. In 1989, there were fewer than 100 Baldwin diesels operating in the U.S., and almost all of these were switchers. The Trona's 3 AS616s were the only Baldwin 6-motor road switchers in service in America.
What makes the Baldwins good locomotives for the Trona?
Well, they're very reliable, and they're good workhorses. And because they're old, somewhat like my car, you might say, I'm very, very proud of it, and the Trona's very proud of operating Baldwins.
It's not hard to see the pride in the Trona Baldwins. If you didn't know, these units could pass for 5 years old, not 35. You won't find a tired prime mover wheezing behind a dozen rattling doors. The characteristic oil leaks staining the bottom of a Baldwin's hood simply aren't there. But why in an age dominated by EMD and GE does the Trona lavish such care on 35-year-old machines?
Our crews are so accustomed to switching with them, and that's not to say they don't use anything else, because they do switch with SP power every week from time to time. I think we'd keep these. They're efficient, they're fuel efficient, they're easy to maintain, easy to inspect every day. Our mechanical department knows them. They're thoroughly familiar with them, just like the train crews. And I see that we'd keep switching with our Baldwins until we have a major breakdown or something happens where it wouldn't be practical or feasible to rebuild one. And then I think we'd still use the other. I don't see that we're going to get out of the Baldwin operation of Baldwin locomotives anytime in the very near future.
In 1989, Baldwin operations were usually confined to the 3 plants at Trona, Argus, and West End, the yard at Borosave, and the 5 miles of track that connect them. 4 days a week, the AS616s switch the plants, sort the cars by product and destination, and pre-block the road train for delivery to the SP. Since 1973, the Trona has leased SP power to handle the road job between Trona and Searles Station, the same SP power that brings the train up from West Colton. Late at night, 5 nights a week, the Trona crew drives down to Searles Station to meet the SP train and run the train to Borosave. There they set out their empty train, pick up the loads the Baldwins switched that day, and lift the loaded train out of the valley to make their delivery to the SP. Unfortunately for rail fans, all this usually happens under the cover of darkness. The Trona doesn't have a monopoly on interesting power in the Searles Valley. Kerr-McGee Corporation has employed 4 ex-SP units as plant switchers, including 2 Baldwin S12s, 844 and 845, formerly SP 2150 and 2157. These units were among the last 3 Baldwins operating on the SP. In 1990, they were donated to the Orange Valley Railway Museum in Paris, California. Today, the Argus plant has an Alco RSD-12 2962, and the Trona plant uses an EMD SW1200 2284. In 1989, a coal-fired cogeneration plant started operations, generating power both for the plants in the valley and the town itself. The Trona now has loads running in both directions, as the SP delivers a loaded coal train to Searles Station early every Tuesday morning. On occasions, SP power has been used to switch Borosave, a rare sight in daylight. The SP is a fascinating railroad, but that's not why we came out here. 4 days a week, the distinctive De La Verne exhaust quietly rumbles through the Searles Valley. The Baldwins may be confined to switching duties, but that doesn't mean they have an easy job. Often that means battling 60 and 80 car cuts all afternoon. The Trona is by no means a high-speed railroad, but it is a heavy switching road, which presents some special challenges to safety.
What's the safety record on the Trona?
Very good. We haven't had a lost time accident in 4 years as of April 1989.
That's remarkable.
Very
It's a
good.
good record. You should be proud of that.
We are.
Coming down grade out of the Argus plant, the engineer makes good use of his dynamics to keep control of his loads. Out here in the desert, you are far away. Far from civilization. Far from the madness of Los Angeles. Far from water. Far from the ravages of time. Far from the forces that would take the Baldwins away.